I've analyzed several fight scenes from RWBY already, but the ones I have the most fun with are the trailers. I've covered the red and white trailers already, and you might be wondering, hey, why are you skipping over the black trailer? That's because my patrons always vote on what they want to see me analyze next, and the yellow trailer won the poll. So let's dive in. You know, interesting. Yang's little blurb mentions symmetry and the beauty of things that aren't. I wonder if this was perhaps alluding to something that was happening down the line, you know? Our first real shot is of her riding around on her motorcycle, Bumblebee. I wish it got used way more in the show. It's just so cool. It's such a cool accessory for a character to use, you know? And those hoverboard motorcycles they got in Volume 7 just weren't the same. They're not as cool. They're not this cool orange color. Ah yes, our first look at our character, and it's just her ass. Classy. We can presume this Raven is actually Raven, you know? You know, it's funny, Yang goes into the bar to ask about her, and little does she know that Raven is already right there with her. Speaking of which, I know this screenshot doesn't really look like Raven, and that's because it isn't. They hadn't really settled on a design for Raven yet, and also, I'm not even sure if this was always meant to be Raven, or if they just wanted to keep it open-ended. So what Monty did was he used this artwork he made called Transient Princess as a placeholder. God, look at the glow on her hair! Nowadays, when Yang does things, her hair becomes like literal flames, which is cool, but this subtle, vibrant, saturated glow is so much more beautiful, at least to me. I also think the flowiness of Yang's hair looks better in Poser too. In Maya, it's really obvious how thick and chunky her hair is. It's all one solid unit, and it makes it feel like Play-Doh kinda just dumped on top of her head. This paper-like flow to the Poser model also has its own problems, but it does read as hair a lot better. This walk is always so silly to me. So like, she nailed her sexy hip sway as she walked into the club, but I think the problem with this shot is that her arms are just like stuck at her sides like a soldier. It's weirdly stiff and it cracks me up every single time. There goes Torchwick. This was him hiring Junior's goons, who we'll then see in episode 1. Nice little touch to have that set up here. As a general, I really love Junior's club as the setting for this trailer. The pulsating dance floor changing from the primary colors from the prior 3 trailers, and the remixed versions of their songs woven into the fight makes it feel like this is the culmination of everything leading up to this point. Also, with each passing trailer, we've expanded on the technological advancements of this world. From the red trailer that felt almost like high fantasy, to the yellow trailer where it feels modern or even futuristic. It's really cool, but not everything is great here.
Aren't you a little young to be in this club, Blondie?
Aren't you a little old to have a name like Junior?
It's no secret that the dialogue in the trailers are some of the worst in the history of the show. Jack, the voice actor for Junior here, is clearly uncomfortable with voice acting, and his voice sounds so forced here. Like, he's trying to make Junior sound like he has a deep voice, but Jack already has a deeper voice. I don't understand why he didn't just use his normal speaking voice. And his cadence is weird too. Almost like he's only reading the script for the first time as he's recording his dialogue. Specifically, the way he says sweetheart here definitely sounds like he thought his sentence had ended already and wasn't prepared to call her something.
So you know who I am. You got a name, sweetheart?
And Barbara's performance is fine, I guess. At least when she's being playful and fun.
Oh, and one of those little umbrellas.
When she tries to sound angry or like confident and in charge, it sounds like it was a bit hard for her to get into that headspace. Like, Yang is supposed to be sounding confident and sultry, but it also sounds fake and forced.
But instead of sweetheart, you could just call me sir.
Like, rather than sounding cool and in control, she kind of just sounds like a bully kind of archetype, you know?
Looks like we have an audience. This must be kind of embarrassing for you, huh?
Also, the dialogue in general is just weirdly clunky. They talk a lot without actually saying anything, which, funny enough, that's just a staple of the show proper, too. Anyways, I don't want to linger on their terrible dialogue. Instead, let's talk about Yang's weird characterization here. So Yang enters a club and then immediately crushes a supposedly much older man's dick to get information out of him, then teases him with a kiss so she can punch him in the face. You know, like any 17-year-old girl would do on a Friday night. Yeah, there's a lot of weird choices here. Like they wanted to highlight Yang's bouncy, fun-loving, hot-headed personality, but also seemed to really struggle to figure out how they wanted to do that and still have a fight break out. Anyways, I'm done talking about the build-up to the fight. Let's just dive into analyzing the action. Fun fact, all of the pedestrians that are running away use the same model, and one of them actually freezes in place for a few frames towards the end of their movement. Y-axes. That seems like such an inefficient weapon to use. Emperor Celica, Yang's gauntlets, has, in my opinion, the best looking transformation to them. It's slight and it's subtle, but it looks just so fluid and amazing to me, especially when she does her thing to cock a new bullet into the chamber. So special, so cool. Yang magically ascends straight upwards so she can get her awesome trailer pose, and the light above her reflecting off of the barrel in her gauntlets, and it's time to kick ass. Yang's gauntlets also tend to glow like her hair in this trailer. I don't think they ever do that in the series proper. They probably didn't want to muddy up her semblance use with her weapon use. When Yang comes down, she blows back 5 goons, at least that I can see. But beforehand, there seem to actually be 7 guys running at her, and then after the initial blast, there's like 14 or so more goons flying around. But I'm willing to forgive this because they all look the same as each other, so it's kind of hard to keep track of them all anyway. I'ma just say it now. The fire effects in their poser models never looked quite right. Like it's fine. I can see that it's fire, but it's always just kind of weirdly layered on top of things, you know? With a smile, Yang rushes forward, does a mid-air spin kick, and absolutely crushes a dude's skull in. One thing about the club that I think doesn't quite work, so the pulsating red, black, and white of it helps to make Yang stand out really well with her gold colors. Unfortunately, all of the goons can get easily lost in the background, especially when it's black. Their red ties and other accessories help them pop a little bit, but sometimes it's a bit hard to see what they're doing. Like, their limbs tend to get lost, you know? I don't want to just go through full play-by-play of every move Yang does here against her volley of goons, and fortunately, I don't really have to. The animation is quick-paced, but not too fast. It makes it feel like an intense, frantic moment, but it also makes it feel like Yang is fast enough and capable enough to handle this threat easily. But here is some mini highlights that I always loved. Yang punches a dude upward with a flying punch and then rocket punches him back into the ground, then jumps off of a different dude into the air. Yang blasting herself full on backwards, then using another blast to spin herself out of the way of a sword. Look at that. Happy little smile. She's having such a good time. Most guys only take 1 or 2 punches for her to beat, but she lays in hard on one of them. That guy deserved a raise. I like the Bearhead DJ. It's a cute way to allude to Junior and his club's fairy tale being Baby Bear from Goldilocks. I never realized it, but it looks like they use a real fire effect for the glow of the Tommy gun. Like, it looks like a stock image you would find off of Google or something. They've just distorted it in Photoshop to make it glow a little bit. Fascinating, so cool. When Yang is weaving around the bullets, she's weirdly illuminated. Like, you can see that her leg is pure white. I wonder if they had to put the glow effect on her hair, but something happened and they accidentally put the effect over the whole scene. Apparently, exporting the yellow trailer was a big issue for them. And you can kind of tell, even in high definition, there's some pixelization and dropping of quality during some of the effect-heavy moments of this trailer. Between the changing background colors, all of the particle effects from their bullets, the hair, the trees in the background, and everything else. It was apparently just a real chunky export for them to get it through, and this kind of glow effect could have just been an exporting error for all I know. She readies her gauntlets, looks badass while she does it. There's a lot of good moments in this trailer that just close up on Yang long enough for us to see how cool she is. Then she launches herself into the air, and look, when she's vaulting over the DJ's booth, the white flowy part of her skirt is actually incorrectly layered behind the lights in the rafters of the bar. It's only on screen for 3 frames. I love finding weird, wacky animation goofs in when we do these analysis videos. There's always something, and it's always so interesting. Here's another thing. When Yang kicks the bear head, the booth changes to red, but then for the next 4 frames, it'll change frame by frame from that red back to the normal gray. Weird. Yang does an extra little mid-air spin to land in front of him, and There's that happy little smile again. Oh my god, it's so cute. She fires a bullet to launch her elbow into the guy, then slams his face into the record, causing it to scratch and change songs, which is fun. I love it when people play with diegetic / non-diegetic music in scenes. Then she hoists him up and blasts him away. Just a great sequence right here. It's also bouncy and fun. Everything with the bear head guy is the best visual representation of Yang's combat abilities and personality, in my opinion.
Melanie, who is this girl? I don't know, Milsha, but we should teach her a lesson.
It's the best girls! It's the Malachite twins, yeah! I've always loved them. I love their haughty personalities, I love their designs and their weapons. Fun fact, these outfits were actually early concept designs for Weiss and RWBY. What a cool way to reincorporate fun designs back into the show. Yang reloading her gun looks so badass. It's a small thing, but I wish her bullet casings still glowed yellow once they were empty. I don't think she actually ever reloads her gauntlets in the show proper. I also don't think she ever has bullet casings anymore either, at least from what I can remember, so tell me in the comments if I'm wrong. Fun fact, the DJ's turntable was in front of Yang, closer to the railing, but now it's behind Yang, closer to the wall. Yang jumps back into the fray, launching 3 shots at the Malachite twins, who, in almost perfect unison, backflip to avoid the bullet rounds. As the two charge towards Yang, she keeps launching more bullets their way. And remember how I said that the Tommy gun seemed to be using like a real fire stock effect? I think Yang's explosions in the background are the same way. Nifty. Yang focuses on just Melanie, who jumps to avoid one shot and kicks away a second one. She lands so coolly in front of the camera, which not only just looks dynamic and fun, but also lets us see the intricacies of her shoes, which is important because that's her weapon. She jumps back out of frame and gives us a better view of Milsha slashing at Yang. The twins jump in and out of combat, so once one takes a few shots at Yang, they back off, and then the other one comes in from behind Yang to also attempt an attack. It's a really smart combo. Melanie is actually the first person to land a real hit on Yang, knocking her backwards with a mid-air kick, who responds by throwing a bullet. Melanie then does a super cool front roll and kicks the bullet and actually slices it in half. See, there's 2 glowing lights now, one that explodes behind Milsha, and then the other one that destroys the tower of glass. Milsha runs up, and when she slashes at Yang, for a single frame in the middle of her strikes, there's a slight purple glow to her hit. It's so pretty, and it happens too fast to really see in real time. Check this out. Milsha is in a crunched pose. Next frame, now she is standing upright, and is also facing the opposite direction. I've never noticed this before. The twins land a volley into Yang, each girl spinning over the other sister in rapid succession, before ending with a double kick from each of them that sends Yang flying back. When Yang is flying backwards, you can actually see that her eyelashes go through her hair the whole time. It's so weird. As she lands, Yang rights herself and propels back into battle, giving us a glimpse of that iconic glowing hair we see from her semblance, and blasts Melanie away. Yang's hair flickers back in and out of glowing as she volleys against Milsha, which is another reason why I like this glow compared to the fire from the Maya engine. When Yang does fire, it's there. I like the kind of coming in and fading away glow that this one has. I have always loved Yang's triple punch that sends Milsha into the air. It looks so good. And then she readies the shot that sends her flying back, and look at that smile. Oh, she is just so happy. Oh my god. Yang spin jumps in to fight Melanie, who flips backwards to avoid and deflect Yang's follow-up shots. Oh my god. For a single frame, we cut to the overhead shot of Yang and Melanie's volley. But then it cuts back to that smiling shot of Yang who does a spin, and then we go to the actual overhead shot to see the actual volley. There's just one weird frame out of place there. It happens too fast for you to see when you're watching it like normal speed, and that's so crazy to me. I swear to god, Melanie snaps an ankle to get this combo out. Jeez. I love Yang backing away from Melanie as she continues to attack. It shows Yang is thinking defensively and waiting for the right moment to counter her. Yang learns Melanie's pattern. Several small kicks, then one high kick, and spins below her leg to elbow her in the ribs. Yang knocks her off balance, closes the distance, and grabs hold of Melanie's hand. She spin throws her around like a bad dance partner, and then does a huge, flashy, mid-air spin to drop kick Melanie right in the head. Wait, the trees were holograms? I'm so stupid. I've never noticed the trees are just holograms. If you turn up the brightness, you can see that before the light turns on, Junior isn't actually there. Just like before when Yang was charging the booth, there's a weird glow to Junior here too. It makes him look very PlayStation 2 model-esque. Junior launches 6 rockets, but by my count, I can only find 5. 1, 2, 3, and 4, then 5. I guess the 6th one was a dud? With his second volley, Yang does a rapid punch maneuver to shoot at them, and it's so cool. But also, one of the rockets just straight up flies over her. Maybe that's what happened to the 6th one. Junior changes to Big Bat mode and flies through the fiery smoke and gives Yang a good wallop. After landing an extra big hit, we see Yang recover, and her hair is starting to glow again. But it's different looking this time? I don't know what it is, but rather than the all glowing in one big unit thing that it has been doing all trailer, this time it seems to just be like the highlights? I don't know how to explain it, but you can get a better look at it when Junior sends her flying backwards too. Like it's just not glowing the same as before. And again, it might have just been a part of that exporting weirdness they had to deal with while making this trailer. After crashing into a table, Yang stands back up and woof. There's that fire effect I was telling you about. It looks so much better when there's a lot more of it, and that's a good thing too, because when Yang charges up, it goes full-on glowy fire hair. Remember what I said about the Tommy gun fire effect and then Yang's explosion effect? Look! There it is again, with Junior's next volley of rockets. Wow, it really is just like a stock explosion effect, huh? It goes to show you, work smarter, not harder. If it exists, use what you can. Green? Green? Like you see that too, right? My vision's just not failing even more on me. That's green. Like, that's all green. Has it always been green? I love how we get a really good look of Junior's face as Yang swings at him. Just really hammers home the, oh no, I fucked up in his expression. Yang just destroys Junior with 7 consecutive punches. Fun fact, it's actually called the Dempsey roll. It's a boxing technique named after Jack Dempsey. Yang has used this technique one other time in the show, and it was when she beat Mercury in the Volume 3 tournament. I want her to do it more, because it looks really cool. She squares up her stance, and then we finally see her eyes glow red for the first time, perfectly timed up with the lyrics, I burn. So with every big explosive effect from her semblance that she does in this trailer, her face is always layered over it. I have 2 theories about why that is. One, it's because they wanted us to always know where she is, and she is very expressive throughout this whole trailer. But also 2, I think they needed to layer her face over the glowing effect, otherwise her face would be glowing like her hair does. But that's just a theory, I could be wrong. When Junior goes flying back, we can already see the strands of gold hair in his fist. I also love how the follow-up I burn lyric is used to time up Yang's reaction to seeing that he has pulled out some of her hair. That's a really, really smart way of using the pacing of a song to elevate the pacing of your animation. Now, Yang's final move is fascinating to me because she never does this again. Similarly to her kind of out-of-character personality during the awkward conversation in the beginning of the trailer, they're still trying to figure out everything about how they wanted the show to work. What certain things would look like or how things would play out was a part of it, and it seems like this was, at one point of time, going to be a style for Yang semblance at full force. And I don't know why they opted to change it away from this. Maybe it was just hard to render, or maybe they just didn't like the style. Knowing Rooster Teeth, it was probably just that it was too complicated to animate on a crunch time frame. But I really love how much it just really emphasizes the yellows and reds in her design here. It just fully brings your attention to her eyes, and I like it a lot. It gives this moment an intensity and power of rage. A part of me would love to see the style eventually returning for Yang in the show proper, maybe as like a final semblance upgrade for her, but also, I think we all know that the ship has long since sailed on that happening.
Yang? Is that you?
Aw man, remember when we were all really worried that that was what RWBY was gonna sound like? We were all like, oh no, I hope she doesn't have that horribly high-pitched and nasally voice in the actual show. Yeah, that would have sucked, huh? Good thing in Volume 1, she sounded a lot more natural. Ha ha ha, dodged a bullet there. Horribly high-pitched and nasally would have really sucked for the main character for, you know, a decade's worth of the show, right? Ha ha ha. right? Really dodged a bullet there.
Oh, hey, sis!
Fun fact, I might just be dumb, but I thought this wasn't meant to say they were actually sisters. I thought sis was being used as like a term of endearment. Maybe it's just because the fact that they don't look anything like each other, I was just certain there was no way they could actually be related. And with that, that was the Yellow trailer. It was a big, bombastic, fun one. I still think about it all the time. Being the final trailer after the greatness of the first three and being the thing that happened just before the actual premiere of the show meant there was a lot of expectations for this one, and they, thankfully, knocked it out of the park. It's super fun, high energy, and just really fun and expressive. Yeah, the talking scene is meh, but I always skipped over that part anyway. The actual combat was phenomenal. A fun setting with a fun, bouncy, lively character, and really interesting characters to fight off here. We went from fighting a horde of monsters, to a big machine, to a bunch of machines, and this was the first time we actually fought other people, other characters. This was our first glimpse of what other characters might look like for the show, and it was cool. It's a fascinating relic of lost concepts, whether it was characters' personalities or animation techniques, and I think it's awesome. And if you like it or noticed anything that I missed, let me know in the comments below. Shout out to my $10 patrons, you're all amazing. Nako, James Dodds, Cool Duck, Andrew, Ramiel, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, G Extreme, Classy Critic, Sunny Shy, Azoth, Great Bar, Jake, Amber, Hype Man, Zero to Hero, Isaiah, Scaring Crows, Not All That Evil, Messiah Complex, Jacob, Virus, Ben's Sketchbook, Omega Fighter, Trash, Wild Pilot, Josh, Swift Cannon, and The Infinity Effect. I hope you liked this video. I always love doing the analysis for the trailers. I want to keep analyzing the trailers. You know, there's so much fun, and the other trailers too for the other seasons. But like I said, my patrons always vote on which one I do next. So if you want to say in which one I do, consider becoming a patron. Any and all thoughts about the Yellow trailer, any of the things that I found, anything did I point out something you never noticed before? Did I miss something? Let me know. Any and all thoughts and opinions, I'd love to see them, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.